This is Ann at Yarn Folk, and I am demonstrating the Mini and Purl strings today. Purl strings come in a little aluminum screw top container, and inside there are 3 pieces of vinyl tubing. 2 of the pieces are 1 meter in length, so 3 feet, and the other piece is 2.5 meters in length, so that's about 7.5 feet. And here is how we use these guys. Close this back up. So I had already taken the longer piece out of the case. So the tubing has a tiny little hole in it. You can see it there. And what we can use this for is anytime you might want to put a large number of stitches onto a piece of waste yarn or maybe a longer circular needle in order to stretch them out and see what it looks like. So in this case, I'm going to be transferring the stitches onto the tubing. This is the Laurel Shawl by Jen Peck. I'm making it using the Hudson West Weld base, and right now I've got it, I think, on a 24-inch needle. It might be 32, but it certainly can't, I can't stretch it out all the way. The other major thing that you might be able to use the Purl strings for is if you're knitting a top-down sweater and you want to be able to try it on to test the yoke depth before you split off for the sleeves, or just test the fit at any point, you could slip the stitches onto this and try on the sweater. So here's how these work. Even though this is the tiniest of little holes, it will fit securely onto the end of a needle tip. So this is very grippy. I'm pulling it. I mean, I can pull it off, but it's really relatively secure. So I've inserted the needle tip into the end of it. This will work up to about a size 10 needle. You really have to just kind of push it on there, but it will stay. And then what I'm going to do is slide the stitches off of the needle and on to the purl string. What I have found is that you have the best luck with this if you kind of shove the stitches all together so they're bunched together pretty tightly, and then scoot them along. It's a little awkward here. This is a triangular shawl, so there's a point to it, and that part's a little hard to navigate. Here we go. And if you just think about how long this would take if you were, slipping stitches, one by one, or even, a couple at a time onto another circular needle, or if you were using a tapestry needle and threading it through. This would be a much larger project. So you can see, I almost have it all the way through. Sometimes you do have to finesse it a little bit, but so now here I've got the needle all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and leave that attached, but what I can do now is spread these stitches all the way out I still have plenty of string left on this. This probably would have worked on just the shorter lengths, but by the time I have the full number of stitches on the shawl, I would probably need this whole thing. So you can see there, we can spread everything out and see what it looks like. Now I'm not going to run the whole thing back through the other direction, but what I did find when I was testing these out is that it, just as it was useful to kind of bunch the stitches up when you were sliding them onto the purl string, the same is true in reverse. So I'm gonna get these slid back toward the other end. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this around here and then start moving them back onto the needle. And so it's a little easier to do if you're spending more time pulling on the purl string rather than pulling on the needle. You have less chance of popping the stitches off. But you can see there, we're just putting them right back on the needle. So that is how purl strings work. The Sweater Plus packs are $15 retail, and they come in 4 colors. I ordered a couple of neutrals, so there's a white and a gray. Those might be useful if you are, say, wanting to photograph something for Instagram and want something that's a little subtler and not as visible. And then I also got these raspberry sets, and then there's also a sky blue if you prefer something that's a little more visible. So thanks for watching.